As a political party which has benchmarked its activities in Nigeria since the return to democracy in 1999, on the principles of good governance, rule of law, due process, and respect for constituted authority, regarded in civilized democracies in the world as the bedrock of an enduring democratic structure, the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, has gone ahead to fulfill an important requirement of the party guidelines. This stipulates that its candidates for elective offices must emerge through transparent primary election and conventions. This it did with the convocation of a special national convention which took place at the Eagle Square, Abuja, between Wednesday 10th and Thursday 11th December 2014. Having built massive followership and support across Nigeria's multicultural and multi-religious political divides on the altar of credibility, integrity, and transparent leadership, it was no surprise that party faithfuls from all strata of leadership from the 36 states on the FCT defied the scorching sun to converge in their thousands at the Eagle Square, Abuja, for the special national convention, at which election of some national officers and the president were formally ratified and endorsed. It is pertinent to refresh our minds about what necessitated the convocation of the Special National Convention of the People's Democratic Party. Following the resignation of the PDP's erstwhile national chairman, Dr. Bamanga Tukur, from that position, Alhaji Ahmad Adamu Muazu, CON, emerged as the party's acting national chairman. Professor Olawale Oladipo and Alhaji Adewale Adeyanju became the acting national secretary and national auditor of the PDP as a result of court pronouncement that picked holes in the election of former Osun State Governor Prince Olagunsoye Oyinlola and Chief Bode Mustafa as national secretary and national auditor of the party, respectively. As regards position of the president, two contenders for the presidential ticket on the platform of the PDP, Dr. Abdul Jalil Tafawa Balewa and Professor Abasoba Duke Abiola, voluntarily withdrew from the race, while two other people who had earlier bought presidential nomination forms, also on their own volition, backed out to support the single candidature of President Goodluck Jonathan. This crucial background was contained in the remarks of the Deputy Chairman of the PDP Special National Convention and Chairman of the Electoral Subcommittee, Senator Ken Nnamani. Senator Ken Nnamani made further clarifications about the process of the ratification of the election of the three national officers and endorsement of President Goodluck Jonathan's election. It will be recalled that President Goodluck Jonathan had been adopted as sole candidate of the PDP in the 2015 election at the party's National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja some weeks ago. The chairman of the planning committee of the PDP Special National Convention, Dr. Bello Haliru Mohammed OFR, had earlier welcomed party faithfuls to the Eagle Square, venue of the National Convention. After the process for the election had been properly enunciated by Senator Ken Nnamani, who was flanked by members of the Electoral Subcommittee, which included Chief Tommy Kimi, Governor Gabriel Suswan of Benue State, Sir Celestino Mejia, former governor of Rivers State. The election was monitored by officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, among whom was Ambassador Lawrence Murugu and other observers. Before voting began in earnest, President Goodluck Jonathan, accompanied by his wife, Dame Patience Jonathan, were led to the Bayelsa State stand by Governor Siriake Dixon and Governor Issa Yuguda of Bauchi State, who was the returning officer for the election. The Vice President, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo and his wife, Senate President David Mark and his wife, and other officials of the top hierarchy of the PDP, like the Chairman of the PDP, Alhaji Ahmed Adamu Muazu, and the Chairman Board of Trustees of the party, Chief Tony Aneni and others, voted in the stands of their different states. As the important matter of the ratification and endorsement of the national officers of the PDP took center stage, the arena witnessed a provision of entertainment. This featured both contemporary and traditional entertainers. They came from different parts of the country. Notable among them were Sani Danja, one sound band, Alhaji Damkwairo from Gombe State, and the Abuja Cultural Troupe. At the end of the voting exercise, which involved close to 3,000 delegates, and the painstaking exercise of sorting and counting of the ballots in the presence of INEC officials and members of the PDP Electoral Subcommittee, the result of the voting was announced publicly. This was done between Senator Ken Namani and Chief Tom Ikimi. Senator Ken Namani proclaimed to the gathering that after having scored far in excess of the numbers constitutionally stipulated, the election of Alhaji Ahmed Adamu Muazu as national chairman of the PDP has been ratified.
Mr. Chairman, Ahmed Adamu Muazu, since he has scored well over 2/3 of the valid votes cast, he stands elected, and therefore he's returned as the chairman, the national chairman of People's Democratic Party, PDP.
In the same vein, the election of Professor Olawale Oladipo as the national secretary of the party and Alhaji Adewale Adeyanju as the national auditor of the party was formally announced.
For the election of the national secretary, Professor Adewale Oladipo, having scored well over 2/3 of the valid votes cast, stands elected and is duly returned as the national secretary of our great party, PDP, People's Democratic Party. For the election of national auditor, Mr. Adewale Adeyanju, having scored well over 3/4 of the valid votes cast, is hereby duly elected and as a result returned as our national auditor. Congratulations.
The swearing-in of the officers was carried out immediately after the elections were ratified. The exercise was conducted by Barrister Oladoshu Oladipo, a notary public and a chieftain of the PDP from Osun State, as the officers took their oaths of office.
I, Ahmadu Adamu, do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the People's Democratic Party. I shall discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the party. I,
Professor Adewale Oladipo,
Alhaji Adewale Adeyanju,
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
to the
People's Democratic Party
and the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will preserve, protect,
and defend the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party
and defend the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party
and of the Federal Republic of
Nigeria.
So help me God.
Another issue that came up for formal ratification at the PDP Special National Convention was the amendment of the Constitution of the party 2012.
The Constitution of the People's Democratic Party was amended at the National Convention held on the 24th March 2012. Section 47 sub 6 of the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party 2012 enabled the appropriate executive committee In cases of vacancies created in the executive committee, to make appointment filling the vacancies in the executive committee of the party by another person from the same area or zone where the former officer comes from, pending the conduct of election to fill the vacancy.
The motion was seconded by the Honorable Minister of State for Power, Honorable Mohammed Wakil.
I, Honorable Mohammed Wakil from Borno, do hereby second the motion moved by the Right Honorable Dr. Gabriel Suswan. I so second.
Delegates who had earlier voted yes or no through the ballot papers earlier distributed among them publicly gave an affirmative endorsement to the ratification of the amendment of the party's Constitution 2012. Again, Senator Ken Namani conducted the exercise. The national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Ahmed Adamu Muazu, whose election was ratified at the National Convention, addressed the gathering. He affirmed his loyalty and avowed preparedness to lead the party into the next 4 years under the Jonathan administration for the consolidation of the transformation agenda of the Jonathan administration to put the country's democracy on a firmer ground.
At this juncture, it is important for us to acknowledge that our growth and progress will only occur if we remain as a family. Those members who have been unfortunate not to have received a ticket to represent the party at the next elections must be accommodated. The unity of our party is paramount to our success over and above any individual ambition. The PDP has set a standard which is yet to be surpassed in the country in terms of the transparency and integrity of its internal democratic process.
In the State of the Party report that followed after, the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Professor Wale Oladipo, kept members abreast with salient developments and events worthy of being borne in mind seriously by all members. He urged everyone to redouble their efforts for the challenges ahead, beginning with the 2015 elections.
In this report that we plan to distribute, we have emphasized our electoral fortunes, the battles fought during the year, largely won, some probably lost, but still subject to litigation, our membership strength, both home and abroad, our finances, including our efforts at revenue generation, investment plans, and resource management.
The highlight of the PDP 2014 National Convention was the voting to ratify the sole candidature of President Goodluck Jonathan as the standard bearer of the People's Democratic Party in the February 14, 2015 presidential election. The atmosphere was electric and the arena became charged with frenzy and joy as President Goodluck Jonathan, his wife Dame Patience Jonathan, led the way as the 3,000 delegates that thronged the Eagle Square venue for the convention voted in the stands of their different states. The result of the election to formally ratify the candidature of President Goodluck Jonathan as PDP's flag bearer in next year's election was announced publicly. The exercise was jointly coordinated by Senator Ken Namani, chairman of the Electoral Subcommittee, and Chief Tom Ikimi, a member who was also joined by other members.
The outcome of this exercise indicates that there is no voided votes, there is no votes. Everybody in this arena has virtually voted yes for Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. The total votes cast is 2,812. All of it has been cast as yes vote for the President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
We, the members of the Electoral Committee, are delighted for the opportunity we have to serve, and we call on our delegates to please observe what this exercise suggests. One, we have to work harder to make the exercise of this evening a tremendous success. We believe that our party stands every chance of demonstrating that our democracy is on the rise. The growth is impressive, and we congratulate Mr. President for this outstanding performance.
Close observers of political activities, especially as regards the emergence of President Goodluck Jonathan to the limelight of national politics in Nigeria, would recall clearly that the Eagle Square would easily be described as the arena that has provided him the divine edge when all the chips are down, if you like. Going back memory lane to the PDP National Convention that produced the late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, it was at the Eagle Square that Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was picked as the running mate in the 2007 election that brought Yar'Adua Jonathan to power. Eagle Square, Abuja was also the venue where President Goodluck Jonathan declared his ambition to run for the 2011 presidential election and indeed beat former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and others to emerge PDP's flag bearer for the 2011 presidential election. Earlier this year, after he was given the first right of refusal by the People's Democratic Party to contest in next year's election, President Goodluck Jonathan made the historic declaration to run as president in the 2015 election, also at the Eagle Square. As President Goodluck Jonathan mounted the rostrum to deliver his acceptance speech after his election was formally ratified at the National Convention by all members of the PDP from the 36 states on the FCT, it is the hope of all those who have closely followed President Goodluck Jonathan's political trajectory as earlier enunciated, that the Eagle Square will again give him the divine edge in addition to the good luck which he embodies to come out victorious in next year's election. In his address, President Goodluck Jonathan, who has demonstrated uncommon courage in the governance of Nigeria at this very trying period, heightened by insecurity in some parts of the country, assured that elections will be held nationwide despite the security challenges.
Having placed great faith in me and choosing me as your candidate, I assure you that I am truly honored tonight to lead another electoral contest. This will be a campaign and an election that will serve to consolidate our successes. I'll give my all. I will not let you down. So political parties must rise above the fray to provide hope and clear direction to propel the development of our dear country. As expected in every contest, especially political contest, the journey to this convention has not been without issues. In some constituencies, indeed, party congresses from the ward to state levels and the legislative and state primaries have produced both triumphs and some misgivings. Without prejudice to various ongoing resolution mechanisms, we will take steps after the elections to review and refine the candidate selection procedure within our party. An appropriate committee will be set up to work on this with contributions across board. Every member of the party will participate.
President Goodluck Jonathan said that stringent measures have been put in place to enable the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) conduct violence-free elections across the country. However, he called on all Nigerians, irrespective of party affiliations or belief, to join in the fight against insecurity and terror. President Goodluck Jonathan urged all Nigerians to be extra vigilant, especially as 2015 is an election year where there's usually the tendency for escalation of violence. President Goodluck Jonathan promised to serve with humility, moderation, simplicity, forthrightness, inclusiveness, firmness, and strength. He urged all Nigerians to support him so that he will be able to finish the job he began 4 years ago. It is imperative, according to him, to secure the future of Nigerians by building the nation rather than destroying it. President Goodluck Jonathan stated that the choice before Nigerians is between going forward and going backwards. The choice before Nigerians, he said, is to choose between a record of visible achievements and beneficial reforms and desperate power seekers with empty promises. President Goodluck Jonathan said that his administration would fight corruption to a standstill. He stated that the federal government and the 16 PDP-controlled states have recorded successes in agriculture, security, judiciary, telecommunications, the economy, and infrastructural development.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our fight against corruption is on course. Our systematic efforts have been acknowledged, and we will do more in the coming years. Corruption definitely degrades development. We'll continue this fight without compromise. In the past 4 years, we have run our administration with respect for the principle of separation of powers between the different arms of government. The judiciary and the legislature have independently and introspectively pursued their own reforms and greater self-expression. With a fresh mandate, which are pushed for increased intra-party and bipartisan harmony within the legislature and between the executive and the legislature. The duty of national development must never be hindered by over-politicization of interests. This is what we owe our people and our nation.
He called on all members of the People's Democratic Party who had grievances arising from the primary elections to be calm as efforts are ongoing to resolve the problem. President Goodluck Jonathan assured Nigerians that his campaign will be on issues and ideas because the record of his performance is there for all to judge. President Goodluck Jonathan then announced architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo GCON, whom he described as a very humble, loyal, dedicated, and committed person, as his running mate in next year's election.
So, my dear party men and women, let us take this campaign to every Nigerian, every home, and every community. We will campaign in peace. We will campaign with hope in our hearts. We will campaign on the facts and the truth. We will campaign with issues and ideas. We will campaign on our record of performance. We will campaign to win. Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, a loyal and tested partner, a dependable, trustworthy gentleman, and a true patriot, will be my running mate and vice presidential candidate once again. With your continued support and the blessing of God Almighty, Vice President Sambo and I will campaign together to win another resounding victory for our great party in the coming election. God bless you all. God bless our great party, the PDP. God bless our great country, Nigeria. I thank you.
The stage is now set for another battle of wits between President Goodluck Jonathan and architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo and former head of state General Muhammad Buhari and his running mate for another crack at the presidency of Nigeria from 2015.